The 2022 season has been far from perfect for Mercedes, with them having the third fastest car on the grid and not being able to challenge for race wins consistently. With the new regulations that have come in this season, Mercedes have really struggled to get on top of them, having several issues this season, but mainly with the porpoising earlier on in the season. After the very controversial end to the 2021 season, Mercedes hope they will be able to come back and win Hamilton his 8th World Championship. However, Red Bull and Ferrari have been much quicker than them, making Mercedes settle for podium finishes when possible. The real question is, will Mercedes be able to fight for the championship in 2023? Well, before we get into how they might be back next season, let's take a quick look at what has happened so far this season and how they have not been in the fight. Mercedes came into the season with high expectations, as they have won every single Constructors' Championship since 2014. However, in the Bahrain pre-season testing, we saw the first signs of the porpoising. This is pretty much when the car looks like it is bouncing on the straight, making it lose a lot of performance. Mercedes looked like they had the worst of this on the grid when rivals like Red Bull had none of the bouncing. However, Mercedes and Russell and Hamilton remained confident in the car, and that in the first race in Bahrain, they would be able to challenge for the win. But when it came down to qualifying and race day, it was clear for all of us, the fans and Mercedes, that the car they had built would be the third fastest for the start of the season. Ferrari and Red Bull were the teams who would be fighting for championships, with them clearly having the pace, whilst Mercedes looked like they had an uphill fight to have for the rest of the season. For the early part of the season, Mercedes were doing anything they could in the free practice sessions, particularly with Lewis Hamilton, who came out recently and said that he tried over 100 setups, which really compromised the start of his season. This is why it looked like Russell was doing much better than Hamilton, as Hamilton was the much more experienced driver. He could give a lot more feedback on how the car felt in each session. Mercedes really struggled around street circuits with the much more rough surface, which could cause the bouncing a lot more due to the track's surface. Tracks like Baku, Mercedes and Hamilton really did struggle with him having a lot of back pain, and he was in visible agony getting out of the car at the end of the race. Russell was building on great performances, being very consistent, and would finish in the top 5 in every race up until the British Grand Prix when he crashed and did not finish. Hamilton had a much better second half of the season, and it really started at the British Grand Prix, where Mercedes had a great chance of winning the race, and this really did help Mercedes boost their confidence massively going into future races. One major part of the car, which many people believe may be a factor in why the car may be performing poorly this season, is the no sidepod design that only Mercedes opted for on the grid. At the first pre-season testing in Barcelona, Mercedes brought quite a basic design that most teams had, but at the Bahrain testing, they emerged with a design that many people questioned, and people thought that Mercedes had made the wrong decision. However, Mercedes believed this was the right design after testing many others in the wind tunnel, and to this day, Toto Wolff, the team boss, believes that this design is not the reason why Mercedes have not been able to get a win so far in the season. After the British Grand Prix, Mercedes looked much stronger, with Hamilton getting several P2s and Russell getting his first ever pole position in Hungary just before the summer break. So clearly, Mercedes were on the up. After the summer break, Mercedes have had a couple good opportunities to get a race win both in Zandvoort and at the United States Grand Prix, but they just do not have the pace in the race like the Red Bull does. Overall, it is pretty fair to see even though Mercedes have brought developments to many tracks, they are not where they want to be, and they really do want to be back in 2023. Do you think that Mercedes should have won a race this season? Now, looking forward to 2023 and the W14 car. Mercedes and Toto have been leaving us several hints that they may be back fighting for the World Championship next season. Lewis Hamilton, who is hungry to win his record-breaking 8th World Championship, has declared that he will take Mercedes to the top. I think this is very evident that if they give Lewis the car to win the championship, he is more than capable to do so and looks like he wants it a lot. Hamilton said this after the American Grand Prix, where he came very close to his first win of the season, saying, "I know that when they build the car, I will take it to the top. We've just to keep on working." So he seems very confident in his team that the W14 will be the car that he will take to the top and get back to dominating the sport as he used to before this season. Someone who works very closely with each Mercedes car is the technical director Mike Elliott, who said, "I think we do understand that now. We know what we need to put right." This is a great sign, as if Mercedes know what is going wrong for them. It allows them to develop and deliver a complete package. The current W13 is a very good race car and has very good pace over the longer stints, and the tyre degradation is not an issue like it is for the Ferrari. So there are some positives from the W13 that they can hopefully take into next year's W14 car. Mercedes have, of course, been very quiet about what the issues are. Some words from the team boss Toto Wolff showed that Mercedes may be possibly back in 2023, saying, "But I think a big chunk of the performance that we are missing we have discovered." So, if this is true, and it is the couple of tenths that they need to be able to fight for pole and the win every single race week, this may allow Mercedes to fight for both world championships. Now, of course, there is one huge issue here, and that is Red Bull and Ferrari improved their cars much more than Mercedes can do. However, Mercedes have been putting a lot of focus onto this year's car consistently throughout the whole season, which Red Bull and Ferrari may have not, and with these upgrades brought to the races, it allows Mercedes to get a better understanding of what works and what does not. Mercedes did bring a big upgrade package to the United States Grand Prix, and this package may not improve their pace to the point that they are able to win the race, but the intention was to get a better understanding for the 2023 season. Let's not all forget that from 2014 until 2021, Mercedes won every single Constructors' Championship and every single Drivers' Championship except one in 2021, but in that season they still fought until the end. So clearly, they are a well-oiled machine and they know how to win, but also they have a lot of experience in recent times. This is very much opposite to Red Bull, who have only had joy in the last 2 seasons, and Ferrari, who have not won a championship since 2007. So Mercedes are still a big threat to the top 2 teams in the paddock. Overall, it is pretty fair to say that Mercedes is hinting that they will be back in 2023. They have not said for definite, as they do not want to get overconfident going into 2023. They are pushing and giving it 100%. It seems, and they are doing everything in their power to be able to make sure that the W14 is a car that is able to consistently win races. But we will not find out if they are back until we start the 2023 season in Bahrain in early March of next year. Until then, what do you think will happen for Mercedes in 2023? Will they stay where they are right now? Or will Hamilton and Mercedes resume their previous, more domination? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe for more awesome Formula One content.